What's going on? Brian Tong here, and the product getting the biggest buzz right now is the highly anticipated 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pro right before Apple's WWDC keynote, and they've been rumored for a while, and now we have a lot of all the pieces of the puzzle out in the open. I know you might have heard some of these things, but now we can put it all together in one place. So this is everything that we know about the new 2021 MacBook Pros right now. And it all starts with its heart. So let's talk about the next iteration of Apple's M1 chip that will be inside of this new MacBook Pro. The most recent report from Bloomberg's Mark Gurman claims the next version of the M1 chip is expected to have a 10-core CPU that's 8 high-performance cores, 2 efficiency cores, and either a 16 or 32-core GPU. We're going to call that the M1X for now, but Apple could also call it the M2. We're just going to have to wait and see. Now, the power here is just another level up, and that's compared to the current M1 chips, 4 performance cores, 4 efficiency cores, and an 8-core GPU. Look, that's double the performance cores, 2 less efficiency ones, and a GPU that has 2 to 4 times more cores. Now, you got to know that double the cores doesn't effectively translate to double the speed. But if this is the power we can expect from the new 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pros, it's going to be a beast, because the M1 chip, which was already a beast, is going to make this one beastier. Now, Gurman also says the next-gen processor will support up to 64 gigs of RAM compared to the M1's current 16 gig maximum, and it will support additional Thunderbolt ports for more expandability. Now, this new MacBook Pro will also get an all-new design. Earlier reports have claimed that we'll see a redesigned body that is slightly flatter and more like the iPad Pro, and an iPhone design language with flat edges. Now, we're seeing this pretty much everywhere across Apple's entire product line, including even the new M1 iMac, and even from the leaked renders from John Prosser of what's believed to be the new Apple Watch Series 7. So this is just clear. Apple has embraced this new minimalistic, flat body, flat edges, and curved corners design philosophy across all of their key products moving forward. And for me, I just can't wait to see what the Apple car ends up looking like now. Skirt! Hold up. Even that looks a little too curvy. Okay, that's a little more like it now. Yikes. Now, the other rumor that's getting traction for this new design, the word MacBook Pro will no longer be placed on the bottom bezel of the display and will be removed entirely for the 2021 lineup. Earlier MacBook Pros didn't always have the text there, and the more minimalist you can get, yeah, I say just bring it. Now, we know people were upset about no Apple logo on the new iMacs, and guess what? They still look like an iMac. Now, Apple's MacBook Pro design is already iconic, and we don't need the name to be on the machine. We also have schematics leaked online that revealed the new MacBook Pro will feature an HDMI port, 1 USB-C Thunderbolt port, and an SD card slot on the right side, while the left side will feature 2 USB-C Thunderbolt ports. That would be a total of 3 on the machine, a MagSafe charging port, which brings back the fan favorite old school power connector, and you love to see it. I love to see it, plus a headphone jack. Now, the other big revelation is that Apple's expected to remove the touch bar from the 2021 MacBook Pro. That is a big deal, and I know some of you love it, some of you hate it. Okay, I would say hate is a strong word, but I dislike it strongly with all my heart. Now, the fact that it took me an extra step just to adjust my volume or change my brightness on the fly, that was an instant turnoff for me on day one. And if you loved it for emojis, well then, you can just leave right now. I'm kidding, don't leave, come on now. We can agree to disagree, kumbaya. Now, I just can't wait to get a physical row of responsive functioning keys on the new Pros if this holds true, but I would love to hear what you think about the new ports, the new power, or the removal of the touch bar, or removing the name. Are you more likely to buy one now, or it's still not enough to pull the trigger? I mean, this is a huge revamp. Just put in the comments, and I'll respond only in emojis if you're lucky. Now, for me, I resisted buying an M1 MacBook Pro. I've been rolling with my fully loaded 16-inch Intel-based MacBook Pro, knowing that the M1 already destroys it in every performance aspect that you can think of. But I would like to say good things do come to those who wait, if these rumors are true. I mean, the new MacBook Pro, this is going to be my new lover. All right, now we've still got more MacBook Pro talk, but let's take a moment to thank the sponsor of this video, Filmora Go. Filmora Go is a video editing app that you can use on the go on iOS or Android. It has all the basics you need, like trimming clips, you can add text, you can put fun little stickers in there, and if you got different filters and effects, you can play with that, or you can import what you want from your own library, and it's just really straightforward and easy to do. You can also add music from thousands of royalty-free songs, or use music from your own collection on your phone. The AR camera feature lets you record clips and manipulate how you look by changing aspects of your face, like this one. That makes me a lot more attractive, don't you think? There are also preset filters that you can record with to give you a specific aesthetic, or put some AR props in there too. Look, there are so many here, but I tend to gravitate towards the pets one. Aww. Now those are all single camera features, but if you hit multicam for the double take feature, it allows you to use both the front facing and rear cameras of the iPhone XR, 11, and 12 series at the same time, and it allows new ways of storytelling through video. So get your free download of Filmora Go by using the link in the description below. Filmora Go is one of the best for easy and creative video editing right from your phone. All right, so back to the Mac, and we know a lot about the new MacBook Pros, but I think the biggest thing up in the air is what display will it use? Will we see the 2021 MacBook Pros with a new mini LED display similar to the one found on the new M1 iPad Pro? Now, earlier in the year, reports have said that they might not make it for this year and to expect them in 2022. And hey, that might still happen. But a recent Digitimes report in mid-May claims Apple is still planning to release the new 14-inch and 16-inch MacBook Pros in the second half of this year, featuring Apple's new mini LED display. Now, this would just be like the cherry on top, the chef's kiss to really just top off the MacBook Pro for this year. And I know some of you might not be immediately so hot on the new mini LED display after you hear these reports of blooming and then the slight shadow along the border of the M1 iPad Pros that have been found. But as someone who owns both the 2018 iPad Pro with its LCD display, which is the same one in the 2020 iPad Pro, and I purchased the M1 iPad Pro from this year, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's still worth it. So here, I just put them side to side at the highest brightness, knowing you will rarely ever use your iPad Pro at its highest brightness. And it's clear to see the M1 iPad Pro on the left has significantly deeper blacks. It's almost a true black, but it also has blooming when you see the real harsh separation of white and black, like a bright white logo or shape against the black background. But I would also say cameras recording this difference are really exaggerating the bloom when it's captured. Now, to my naked eye, yes, it is there, no doubt, and it's subtle, but it's just not as dramatic as what you're seeing captured by these cameras. Now look at the older iPad Pro display. It also has some slight blooming as well. It's not as dramatic, but it's there. But it also doesn't even come close to achieving a true black level. It's clear to see, and it also doesn't support HDR content. Now on the new iPad Pro, you'll see instances where the intensity of colors and the way it pops are just better, and the contrast ratio is so much better. And again, this is on its peak brightness for both displays, just to really exaggerate the effect, which you will not experience this dramatically with your own eyes. Now, if you follow TV display technology, I'm a big junkie of it. Mini LED brings the closest results to an OLED without being an OLED that we've seen to this date. Now, on OLED, every single pixel is individually controlled and can be turned off to achieve these true blacks. Now, Mini LED has zones or areas that are lit up, so it can't be as precise as a pixel by pixel accuracy by the nature of the technology. And that's why you can have this blooming effect, but it's not nearly as severe as what you're seeing on captured videos compared to what you see with your own eyes in real life. And if you're using a normal brightness, it's going to be even harder to see. And that's just my experience. I think it's kind of being overblown, honestly. So I'm excited for Mini LED to come to the new MacBook Pro. Would I prefer an OLED display? Well, absolutely, but we're not even there yet, and it's not happening anytime soon. But do I want a Mini LED display on the MacBook Pro right now? Hell yeah, I do. And as for that slight shadow that people are talking about on the edge of the display on the new iPad Pro, I didn't even notice it until it was pointed out to me. So see if you can pick out the difference for yourself. I know it's not ideal, and I'm not making excuses for it, but it's also not a deal breaker for me, especially when you weigh out the benefits of the Mini LED's deeper blacks. You got that 1,000,000:1 contrast ratio, but who cares about the numbers? You can see it, and an HDR display that absolutely just pops. I'm still taking Mini LED all day. Now, the Pro Display XDR, Apple's $5,000 display, it also has some blooming too, especially when it's the Apple logo against the black background on startup. But I didn't see everyone get all crazy about that, and it is still a killer display. So until we get OLED, which is not happening anytime soon on Apple devices, this is the technology, and most consumers wouldn't even know there's a difference unless it's a side-by-side comparison that they can see. But for people that are all up in arms about it, just save your money. Maybe you could stick with the 2018 or 2020 iPad Pro display, but I'm gonna roll with Mini LED. And I get it. Maybe if you're a dark mode user, it might bother you more at times, and I could understand that, but it doesn't bother me, and I think it won't bother most users at all. So I just want to give my 2 cents about this whole mini LED blooming discussion and tell you that the benefits still outweigh the quote-unquote drawbacks that most people will never even notice. So the biggest question for WWDC 21 is, will we see the new MacBook Pros? I mean, specs-wise, I'm expecting everything we've heard to be true, but the mini LED display is the only thing that's really up in the air. I wouldn't even be surprised if we got everything here except for the new mini LED display, and then it rolls over as a new feature for the 2022 MacBook Pro. Like, I shouldn't have even said that out loud because I think I might have spoken it into existence. Yikes. But hey, look, overall, we're expecting 14 and 16-inch screen sizes, a new M1X processor, if that's what they call it, a new flatter design, more ports with MagSafe, no more touch bar, and then no touch bar might mean we get a new Touch ID button, and then maybe an all-new mini LED display that we may or may not see. But even if you stack, 90% of those things here, I'm already juiced for this event, and we're going to find out officially at Apple's WWDC 21 keynote on Monday, June the 7th at 10 a.m. And you can join me right here on my YouTube for my live stream coverage. We started around maybe like 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, just to get you all warmed up. We're going to have a pre-show. There's the keynote and then a post-show wrap-up plus everything you love. We got the live call-ins, giveaways, and keynote bingo, and so much more. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for this video. If you like what you see, give me that thumbs up, subs up, and hit that notification bell, ding, to get all my videos when they drop. And if you want more Apple goodness, you can check out my Apple Bits XL audio podcast to get a real deep dive with the latest stories and special guests. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you pretty much next time, WWDC 21, right here on my channel for the live stream. Mark it down. Take care and be safe, y'all. Peace and love.